y'all weren't ready for 2 videos in the same day, which I wasn't either. I was actually planning on putting what I'm about to tell you into the same video that I just uploaded, talking about the legal battles with the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons and about the N64 stuff, but I love The Legend of Zelda, and I think The Legend of Zelda stuff gets its own video, because that's how much I love it. So, welcome back to That Nintendo Show. I've got a separate video just talking about Legend of Zelda news that's been happening in the past couple days, and talking about some leaks and rumors and stuff that I think are really cool if they end up coming true. So, I want to start off today with something that I should have made a video about a couple days ago, and that is Nintendo celebrating the 1-year anniversary of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I'm 2 days late as of the recording of this video, but May 12th of last year, what I thought was going to be the best game I've ever played released. Still one of my favorite Nintendo Switch games, but it was beaten out surprisingly last year by a game that's not on the Nintendo Switch called Baldur's Gate 3 as of my game of the year, but I cannot begin to tell you how many hours that I sunk into Tears of the Kingdom. It's not very often that I take a week off of work just to play a video game, and that is exactly what happened with Tears of the Kingdom. Just staying up all night, just doing all sorts of this wacky stuff in there. There's some games that I wish I could just like wipe from my mind so I can experience it for the first time all over again. This is one of those games. I wish I could just pretend like I didn't know anything about it. Just try it and jump back in, and that first time that you jump from either from the sky or from the mainland down into the depths, and the music kicks up and it's like, oh my gosh, there's a whole other world down here that maybe I didn't know about it before, but I acted very surprised the first time that I got to play around with it. And just all the just zany stuff you can do in this game. And like, it took the internet by storm. Like TikTok and YouTube shorts were all just people just making the most bonkers things you could ever see. And it was just a lot of fun. And to celebrate the 1-year anniversary, Nintendo put out a really nice piece of art to go along with it. They also put out the quote, "Time flies when you're exploring the land, skies, and depths of Hyrule. What are your favorite memories from The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which launched 1 year ago?" Honestly, 2 favorite things was the opening of the game, just how intense it was, and how even if you didn't play Breath of the Wild, you could just jump right into it, and they kind of gave you enough just to get you going with it. But there's not been a lot of times where like an intro to a Zelda game was as intense as this was. It wasn't like a hand-holdy, get you going kind of thing. Breath of the Wild wasn't either, but it was just the right way to open this game. I don't think I could have told Nintendo to do it any better than they did. And honestly, the finale, which it's been a year, I'm still not going to spoil it, but everything in the final boss fight leading up to the ending of the game is just perfect. I know a lot of people are still not on the fence about Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild just because of the way that they tell their stories. And yes, they made a lot of improvements in Tears of the Kingdom over Breath of the Wild as far as like dungeon design and the way they tell the story and everything. But all of those criticisms aside, I think this is one of, if not the best Zelda game ever made. And I've played a lot of them. There's only like 2 Zelda games I've never played, and that's on like the DS ones. And it's just one of the DS ones, Spirit Tracks. And I don't think that that game's gonna beat Tears of the Kingdom in my mind. But eventually I'll get around to playing it. But I want to know, leave a comment on this video, what your favorite thing about Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is, if you've got one. Hopefully we can spark some excitement in the comment section and get people just to share their memories about Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I do have one other one, and that is it's not technically the first boss, because you can play this game in any order you want to, but the Wind Temple boss, Colgera. The music in that boss fight had no reason being as good as it was. That music was incredible, and again, wish I could listen to it for the first time all over again, because I'm pretty sure I teared up, especially whenever I heard like how it had like the Dragon Roost Island music from the Wind Waker kind of just baked into it. So good. But anyways, let's move on to a actual rumor, and that is that Nintendo may be working on a Legend of Zelda game where Zelda is the main character. And this has been something that's always been teased, that they wanted to make a Zelda game where she was the main character of it, or even Tears of the Kingdom was going to let you play as both of them. Like, you would do the main Link moments that we saw in the game, but whenever you visited Zelda's time during her flashbacks, going back in time kind of thing, you get to play around, do stuff as her. And that's something I always thought would be cool. Like, before we understood the story of this game, I actually thought that Zelda was going to be in the depths doing stuff, and you would progress through the main story as Link, and then it would like cut to Zelda getting the narrative caught up. Honestly kind of is relevant, but that's how Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door kind of tells its story, is that Mario will do something, and then once he beats the chapter, it cuts to Peach, and then you get to play a segment as her, and then it cuts back. So I actually thought that'd be something that'd be really cool for this game. Now, the only thing with a Zelda specific Legend of Zelda game is, one, how would you handle combat? Like, would it be a completely different type of game? Like, would it be more of a puzzle game instead of like a more of an action game? Or do they just make it to where she's just the badass that we know she is? Like, she's, instead of just swinging a sword, she's just casting magic, which I guess it would depend on what version of Zelda that you're talking about, because the Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom Zelda really doesn't do magic. She just, well, she kind of does, but that's a spoiler. But not like to the same extent that like Ocarina of Time Zelda does, or even to an extent Twilight Princess Zelda. So I think it'd be cool. I would definitely be all for playing a Zelda-based Legend of Zelda game. I mean, like, Princess Peach got her own game. Why can't Zelda get her own game? Actually, Peach has had 2 of her own games. Like, even if we got a Zelda game and it was just like Super Princess Peach, but it was Zelda, and you just had to make sure that her emotions were in check, I'd still play it. It's a Zelda game. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let me know what you think about a Zelda-specific Legend of Zelda game. Would you play it? What kind of game would you want that to be? But hey, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like on it, subscribe if you're new here, and I'll see you next time.